everybody, and thank you for joining me today. Okay, I am continuing to finish filling in this pass. I have less than 3,000 stitches to go for that to be completed, so woohoo, we're getting there. Closing in on 89%, but I think reaching 90% this month shouldn't be an issue. I pretty much done the tail of the peacock, and I'm working on the flowers and sort of the background where it's it fades out if you look at the mock-up, and the flowers aren't quite as distinct. They're kind of like out of focus almost, and that is the section that I am working on today. Alrighty. Yeah, I think this probably is the last time I move the frame over. We'll see. Sometimes when I get to sort of those last two columns, I will shift it over even just a little bit more to make it easier to reach, but I think I can reach it pretty well the way it is. So where it is now, so because this here is 520 and it's 550, so there's only 3 more big squares left. So like I said, that end is approaching. Woohoo. Oh, went for my acupuncture today, so my neck is a little sore. Acupuncture and physio, but more range of motion, and I know sort of once it settles down again, it will feel better. The first time I went to have it done, it was quite sore for the rest of that day and sort of the next one, because everything had been sort of locked up for quite a long time and those muscles had not moved properly for a long time. And so once sort of she got them to release, yeah, they were sore, but it felt better once that was done. It was sort of one of those, sometimes it has to hurt a little worse before it feels better. I think this is the third time I've gone. Third year I've gone, and so I do know from previous experience that it is worth it. I will feel much better. So I keep up with that and my stretches on my board, and it's been good. Alrighty, so I hope you are all having a good December so far. Hopefully it hasn't been too stressful for you. Mailed off our gift to my father-in-law, so it should get there before Christmas, even with the mail running slower, because we are still in a semi-strike action. It's not a full strike, but rotating strike, so things, all their delivery, what you might call it, guarantees are suspended. So you basically understand that when you send it, it will get there when it gets there. If you need it to be there by a certain time, you better send it another way. So it was funny. My mother-in-law, almost every year, she would forget, and then she would have to pay extra for courier to get the gifts here in time for Christmas. And I always told her, it's fine. You know, we don't mind waiting extra days. You don't have to pay the extra. But for her, it was very important it be there Christmas morning. So it was kind of funny, because I'm like, I mean, Christmas is the same day every year. Same date, right? It shouldn't sneak up on you, but I don't know. That's me. I always like to be early if I can help it. I'm the person who arrives half an hour early to the appointment and then sits in the waiting room, but I'd rather do that than stressing that I'm not going to get there on time. That is the worst. We have snow and ice now. I think it's safe to say this stuff will not be melting until come spring. Not a lot of it, just a little. It's actually been more ice fog than actual snow It's where the ice basically forms crystals on everything. Yeah, it's really pretty, but it kind of sucks when you have to remove layers of ice from your car, but it was kind of cool. There's a tree that normally the branches are well clear of the sidewalk, but sometimes in the winter, if we have a lot of ice fog, it will build up in layers until the branches get bent down from the weight, and it almost makes like a cave. Yeah. And it's funny too, because if you get it from ice fog, one side will usually melt faster than the other, because of the side that gets exposed to the sun more will melt from that, even if the actual ambient temperature isn't that warm. So kind of interesting. Had to start plugging in the cars again, the block heaters and battery blankets, so that they will start, because they, yeah, it gets really hard on them when it's super cold. Oh dear, that is, look at that. Oh, got all twisted up. That is very weird looking. Okay, let me try and, I'm gonna redo this, I think, or untwist it, because yeah, it's looking really not good. I'm gonna unfold it and kind of let it hang, so that I probably, when I pull out a strand from the group of 6, I generally hold it up and let the ends just kind of untwist, so that they don't twist together once you fold them in half, if you're like me using 2 strands and doing a loop start. But I think I forgot to do that this time, and so they kind of, yeah, twisted all over each other, and that would have been very weird. So let's give that another shot. So I have to watch my grid line. I've kind of sewn over it, and it's kind of not quite in the right place, so I have to be careful to not let that throw me off. That is one drawback of sewing on your own grid lines. But like I say, I work, my cross-stitch cloth is 60-inch wide, 14 count, and nobody sells that pre-gridded that I've been able to find anywhere. Wool Warehouse sells by the meter pretty much any cross-stitch cloth you can think of, but they only go 43-inch wide. And for some of these ginormous pieces that I'm doing, even that is not big enough. And I know that people have said there are ways to join the fabric and stuff, but I would prefer to have it all in one piece if I can. There was, I think it was Scarlet Quint's blog, website, whatever you want to call it, has tutorial for doing that, where I think she joined it with like fusible interfacing or something. You have to line it up, of course, very carefully, perfectly, otherwise it's going to look funny. Or there's some people who said they overlapped it by a few stitches and that you couldn't tell, even though it was thicker in that part. So, but like I said, I haven't tried it myself, so I don't know. I know some people too, if they have super big pieces, have split them like into a triptych or something sometimes. So like into 3 separate pieces. But I like to have mine all one piece when I can. So yeah, my huge piece of fabric arrived. I was very happy. I mentioned that last time. Yeah, I was a little nervous because, like I said, the tracking hadn't updated for like a week and it didn't look like it was gonna move. So I was sitting there waiting and thinking, okay, in a couple more weeks, if I don't get it, I'll have to submit a claim. But I mean, you don't want to do that. That's always a big pain, right? Yeah. And, but thankfully it got here, so it's all good. And, oh, my cones arrived too. My DMC cones that I ordered, and I did not have to pay any import fees, so yay! Because, yeah, I ordered those from 123 Stitch, which is in the US. So I was happy with that. Oops. Oh my gosh. I have some clips up here holding fabric out of the way, and my floss went over it, looped over it, and tried to hang on to it. So yeah, like I said, as you can see here, these are meant to be flowers, but they're kind of faded flowers because, of course, the main focus of the piece is that peacock and his tail. There's a tiny bit, of course, in the very last pass, but he is pretty much almost done. And the peahen has been completed for a while now. Yeah, so not much longer for me to work, and then I'll have a bunch of time off, so that'll be kind of nice. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I will have to work. Christmas Eve is Wednesday, as is New Year's Eve, but I'm not sure if they're going to open those days. They said they hadn't decided yet, so I'll find out closer to the date. But if I don't have to work those days, then that means I pretty much don't have to work until January, which is kind of nice since I don't need I don't need the hours, so it's just a nice little bonus. Yeah, I was saying about the ice fog. It's really pretty if you've never seen it, because it outlines sort of like every little twig and branch on the trees. They look very delicate. Looks really neat. I think so anyway. I might have a picture on my Instagram. I'm not sure if I did or not. I know I put one on my Facebook page years ago that I took of the ice fog. It had gotten quite thick in layers. It was really pretty. I said, it's most pretty when you don't have to go anywhere. It's nice when you can stand at your window, you know, with a hot drink and just look at it. Not so nice when you got to drive somewhere. Yeah, I don't drink coffee anymore, but I do like a nice hot cup of apple cider or tea, I will say. It has to be the Alpine brand. I actually order it online because I tried, our local store had a no-name brand and I tried it and I was not a fan. It's funny, there's not very many things that I insist on a name brand, but that is one of them. Heinz ketchup is another. Yeah, I find I can taste the difference when it's a no-name ketchup, so I once again forgot to put my phone in Do Not Disturb. I apologize. Do that now. Yeah, there we go. I don't use my current phone for filming, so I forget sometimes. Although I have to say, I did do that with my phone when I was using it. I use an old one for filming because you would think my new phone, my current phone, is a newer model. You would think it would be better for the camera, but I had some complaints that it wouldn't stay in focus, and so I kept my old phone and I used that for my camera because it seems to be better. So I don't know if it's because, like, with my hands moving in and out of the frame, it keeps trying to change focus or something. I don't know, and maybe that's why, but yeah, so goodness. Yeah, I say new phone, but it was newer. I upgraded from like an 11 to like a 14, and like the 17's coming out, or did just come out or something like that soon. Yeah. Yeah, there was an article recently saying that people are device hoarding, as in not upgrading their devices fast enough. And it's like, well, I do not see the point in a new phone every year if the old one works just fine. I went and got the battery replaced, and so now it's at 99% battery health again, and as long as it still works, I will just keep on replacing the battery because it is much cheaper than a new phone. And like I said, as long as it still works, I mean, eventually I know it will have to be replaced. But then I just upgrade to a refurbished phone that's, you know, a couple of models below the current one, and it's much cheaper and it still works. So just like my tablet, I'm going to keep it for another couple of years, but I think when I replace it, I'm going to try a different brand. This is a what you might call it, Kindle Fire, and my first one was great, but this one has been, I don't know if I just got a dud or if the quality has gone down, but yeah, it has had problems with it. Not bad enough to need replacing. It's still usable, but it has not been as good. So, and with the Kindle Fires, you do have to do a bit of a workaround because they don't have the Google Play Store automatically installed. And yeah, I figured it out because there's a lot of How to Geek has good tutorials on it, and I managed to do it, but it was a bit of a pain because the last time I transferred it over, for some reason I installed the Google Drive and everything, and I logged in and it wouldn't see anything in the files. No matter what, I tried rebooting it, I tried uninstalling and reinstalling it, all this stuff, and it wouldn't show up. And so to import my patterns into Pattern Keeper, I had to actually use my Kindle app as like a PDF reader. I had to send it to my Kindle library and then download it in from there. It was the biggest pain. But it worked, and I only did that because my husband figured it out. He's the techie person, not me. But, and then it was funny because I finally managed to get that workaround, and then I, you know, stitched a bit, left it. The next morning, my tablet updated its software overnight, and then it worked. And I was like, oh, I should have thought of that, right? They said, if you're having trouble with it, sometimes you need to run like a device maintenance because sometimes it's, the software has updated since they made it and shipped it to you, and if the tablet hasn't been turned on, obviously it couldn't update, right? So it works now. Now my Google Drive works. I can see what's in it. But yeah, it was a big pain. And so I said, I think next time I'm gonna get a proper, maybe a Galaxy or something. Yeah, some people said actually for Pattern Keeper, they didn't even have to use the export because it had a smart swap or whatever. You put the devices close to each other and it transfers all your files. So yeah, technology keeps changing so fast. Because I said, remember the first time I had to swap to a new phone, I had to do a backup manually on my computer and then reinstall it, and some of the stuff still needed to be re-downloaded and signed into, and then now it was just like stick your two phones together, you know, enter your pass key, and then boom, leave them and it does it all for you. We're so spoiled now. I was saying to my husband's like, we're living in the future. Like the other day we were in a restaurant and there was a song playing and he's like, oh, what's the name of this song? I want to buy this one. And I didn't know. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I open up my Google app, type the microphone, you know, search for a song, hold it up, and then boom, you know, 20 seconds later, it told you who it was. So that was kind of cool. Or you can hum a song, and if you can hold a tune good enough and it's in their library, they can identify it for you, which is kind of cool. So my husband has this song in Hungarian that I like, but of course I couldn't Google the lyrics because I don't speak it. And he wasn't home, so I couldn't ask him, and I was really curious what the song was, so I just hummed a few bars and boom, there it was. And it even put like a link to the, you know, to it on YouTube and stuff. It's like, wow. Oh, when we were kids, if you asked and then nobody knew, that was it. You just had to settle for not knowing. Although it's kind of nice now too with IMDb, because a lot of times if they would use the song in a soundtrack, then sometimes it would be listed in the credits there, which is nice. But yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I think I want a short piece. Yeah. Short bit here. And then I'll use a longer piece in a minute. So what I'm going to do is a short piece for that there. Yeah, I was re-inking some stamps at my work for date stamps, and of course I got it on my fingers. I cleaned it off as best I could with some hand sanitizer, but that stuff stains. Yeah, so I wouldn't say this area is too confetti heavy. It's kind of a mix, but some color changes. Okay, then start a new longer piece, and I'm gonna carry it up along that way. So once I get a little further over to that right hand edge, I will start drawing all my ends in towards the middle of the piece so that they don't extend past the that far edge. Of course, I don't want that. Oops. Darn it, caught that clip again. We'd have to maybe change how it's oriented, because it seems to kind of want to grab everything. Yeah, I use lots of, I got clips and like some elastic headbands and stuff to kind of hold things in place here. So it's quite a fair amount of extra fabric to wrangle with, as like I said, I work on 14 count, so my pieces are absolutely huge. Okay, so there we are. Yeah, there's a bit of a flower there and a bit more layers. I'm just gonna slowly grow out to the side as usual from what I have established. I did not get any work done on my other piece, the firefly. I just did not have time. However, since I have some time off work in December, I expect to hopefully make some pretty good progress before the end of the year. Okay, let me just, yeah, I was going to carry this down and back up, but I realized this piece is not very long, and so I may just sort of stitch it till it runs out. Yeah, so the length of thread that I have attached already is often one of the biggest deciding factors of where I'm going to carry it. It almost felt like a knot. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess maybe it was going to form a knot and then it kind of popped loose right at the end there. That does happen sometimes, so. So some blue and purple here, kind of intersecting. Yeah, I think the greens in this piece are pretty much done, because even the leaves of these plants here were more gray than green. And the green was pretty much in the peacock's tail, but up higher. The stuff lower is more brown, so yeah, I don't think there's much green left, or if there is, it's only a stitch or two. Okie doke. It's a really short piece, yeah. I was actually able to keep the needle on, which I'm surprised. A lot of times when it's that short, it will just pop right off. Okay, let's grab this piece. There we go. Counting. Yeah, with the grid lines, I don't have to count higher than 5. If it goes more than that, then I count from the far grid line. Save myself that trouble there. Only want to grab one of these. There we go. Not both colors. So I will generally stop doing where I pin stitch in the next square at the second to last big square. And then after that, I start drawing everything into the back, into the center, so that it doesn't stick out. Okay. buying some more cross-stitch supplies. That was my Christmas gift to myself this year. We buy our own gifts. We have a budget. So it's funny because my husband always says, well, you should wrap it and put it under the tree. I'm like, but why though? I mean, I know what it is. I don't see the point in wasting wrapping anyway for that. So yeah, I bought Kiddo a new nice fake feather quilt for his bed. So he doesn't watch this channel, so he'll still be surprised. I'm sure he'll like that. And some more pajamas. He really likes onesie pajamas, so I got him some bluey ones. Bandit, the dad. So, yeah. It's even got the little hood on it, too. Okie doke. Let's see. So the color is kind of slanting that way, but for today, I just feel like I'm going to kind of stick to a more diagonal. I don't usually, but today I just kind of feel like it. I think because it's such a sharp kind of steep curve that I would really close in that stuff above it, and I don't want to, so yeah. Alrighty. This piece will be running out pretty quick. So I think that would mean I might reach the milestone of having 30,000 stitches left this month, because that would be 276,900. So that is likely. I browsed through the rest of this pattern. I don't think I have any more zeros until we start that final pass. There were a few in this pass, but I don't think I have any more left. Oh, like I said, there's less than 3,000 stitches to go to complete this pass, so. Okay, we got some bigger blocks here. Almost wanted to knot up on me, but Oh, goodness. That was a knot, yeah. I heard it and I felt it. There we go. So it was funny, I mentioned in previous videos my son has a gaming computer, and he recently upgraded with, he bought himself like a steering wheel and a shifter, and even it's got the gas and brake and clutch pedals for it. Anyway, he was so into it that he was driving and he shoulder checked, even though it's like he's in a computer simulation, right? He won't see anything behind him, but yeah. I said, but that's good. I mean, it's so automatic to you to shoulder check before you change lanes that, you know. Yeah, before realizing, oh, wait a minute. There aren't actually any cars around. This is just a simulation, yeah. So he plays different, yeah, brick rigs, BMG. There's another one, I can't remember what the name is, but... My husband is replaying the latest Legend of Zelda, The Tears of the Kingdom. We already finished it once. Now he's playing it again. Well, I find those games have really good replayability, especially the open world ones. Although I said, I think my favorite will always be the two N64 games, The Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Those were my introduction to the Zelda games. So, yeah, when my husband and I were engaged, he introduced them to me. So we played those together. And it's funny because there were some people, they complained about the graphics, and I'm like, okay, but Ocarina of Time came out in 1998. Like, that was top of the line graphics back then, right? And my husband bought the one with the expansion pack too, so it was, honestly, I think they've held up pretty good. Yeah, they're a little bit, you know, pixely or whatever, but... Well, I'm always one of those that I don't mind if the special effects and stuff on things aren't as good, as long as the story is good. That's what I'm there for. Because I find a lot of times they focus so much on the visual and special effects and not as much on telling a good story. And it's like, I mean, my favorite version of A Christmas Carol is still the 1951 version with Alistair Sims Scrooge. And I mean, the special effects are obviously not great considering how old it is, but it doesn't matter because his performance is so good. Like, I've seen and enjoyed other versions, but that is definitely my favorite one. Oh, right. I was thinking this piece of thread feels shorter. Now I remember the whole strand got a big knot in it that I couldn't undo. And I had to cut it out, which was rather annoying. So, yeah, the full-length piece is not full-length right now. Because I cut all my strands the exact same length. I unwind the whole skein and then fold it in half 3 times so that I get 8 equal pieces. Because my old way when I used to use bobbins, like I always said, I always ended up with a super long piece at the end or 2 short ones. Or sort of 1 regular piece and 1 super short one, which I didn't like. So yeah. Cutting them all the same length eliminated that problem. My grid line's a little off right now, but I'm not worried about that. It's just a guideline. I know where it is. Pulling them out later is kind of satisfying. When I finish stitching a piece, I'll sit there for like an hour or 2 and slowly pull them all out. Okay, so yeah, I might just sort of stitch up to here and keep filling in that way. Or I could continue to stitch all the way to the edge. Either way works. But I think, like I said, I'm going to stop at about that grid line there so I'm not adding more needles because, yeah, it starts to get a bit of a juggling act when you have too many needles live. So, at one time. Okay. Kind of makes, I think, a natural stopping point kind of right there anyway. Yeah, there's a color that kind of goes like that, and I'll just kind of split it in the middle. Okay, there's kind of a lone stitch there. Oh, good. I got lots of little pieces left over, so no problem. Oh my goodness. Come on, there we go. said, I could keep going all the way to that far edge, but I'm going to stop on or around this grid line, because like I said, so I don't have too many live threads at once. Okay, that felt wrong, but it's okay. I can feel that it's nice and smooth back there. Oh dear, I just dropped my needle. Oh dear. Ah, there it is. It's not so much losing the needle, it's I don't want to poke myself with it later. That's no good. Or someone else to get an unhappy surprise later if it's on the floor somewhere or something. Yeah, more than once I've been on my hands and knees going over the floor with a magnet to try and find a needle I dropped, because I don't want anyone to get injured by it later. I wear slippers, so it probably wouldn't be me. It would be my husband or son who would find it in an unpleasant way. Yeah, my feet are always cold. But the only time they weren't was when I was pregnant. It lasted for a whole year after my son was born. I thought, oh, this is awesome. But then it went away again. I was like, oh, darn it, because it's so nice. My hands and feet were always warm. People complain about being too hot, but for me, it was just perfect. I just wasn't cold anymore. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to look at what I've got here. All right, so what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to split it sort of here. You can see that motif goes there. And I'm going to fill in what's to the left of it. So that means all of these, I will just take the needles off and set it aside, and I will stitch those threads later when I'm filling in that part. Yeah, that seems like a good place. These ones, and then I will mark. So I did start over here. I did a bit there. Now I'm back over here again. I just kind of travel all over the place. Well, I find it keeps me from getting bored too. Keeps my brain engaged. So. Shall we stitch to 200? That's where I usually stop. It's a nice round number. And put that there. Okay, I'm gonna actually fill in these here. I'm gonna see how long this piece is. Okay. Yeah, I think I won't carry this all the way to the top. I will just continue working this one downwards, and I will add another. Oh, I think I missed the spot there. Yeah. Yeah, that stitch is a little wonky. Try that again. Yeah. Now I got it. I will. Ooh, missed coloring that one in. Oh, I actually did do the one at the end of this. I just forgot to color it earlier. Yeah, occasionally that happens, but no problem. Everything on the piece is still correct, so that's what I care about. Okay, so I think, right, I did start another strand up here, and I've got one in the corner here, which I think is not very long. Yes, I'm remembering that correctly. And that is why I started a new strand up top. This one is actually, I think there's enough to do. This one that's right there by itself, kind of. And do this. Okay. There we are. Okay, I like to leave a little slack in my grid lines so they don't pull the holes and distort the fabric. Okay. Oh dear. Not what I wanted to do. I'm going to have more than one strand of this one. Branches off, and plus there's quite a lot in this area, so that won't be an issue. Probably use them both up. Did that. Got to start another strand from the top there. pulled up the fuzzy there. All right, and then I'm gonna, start another strand. I should probably put in my working tray at this point. Yeah, quite a bit of it coming up. Okay, making sure I'm in the right spot because I got two strands of that color kind of parked, so I have to make sure I don't work based off the wrong one, which I have done before. I was not terribly happy with myself. As well. Actually, I might as well do these too. Those. Okay, so I did that. Okay, so this one here. Oops. There. So that I can do that one, so I won't close it all the way in, because I don't want to do that. Okay, then I will do these two, and that will take me to a nice even 200. Let's park this. Park that right there and there. 200. Nice. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.